Hello, welcome back. Today I have another eBay find for you, and this is one I'm quite excited about because this is a really nice leather belt. It's an Abercrombie Fitch all leather, English made leather belt, really high quality, full grain leather. I picked it up for a couple of pounds on eBay. The reason for that was it is missing one vital ingredient, and that being the buckle. I happen to have a brass buckle of the same size, so that's just perfect. And so today I'm going to repair this, restore it. I'm also going, if you can see the color of the belt, it's got this sort of dusty finish to it. It's not a particularly attractive color. It just looks like it's been left in a drawer and dried out. So I'm going to use some leather honey to restore the belt. Now, the reason for that, I'm not using shoe cream or dyes or waxes because I don't want to have any color transfer of the waxes or the shoe cream onto my clothes. Second thing is I want to retain the natural patina of the belt. I think belts, as they age and develop a patina, this sort of the wear, the scratches, the scuffs, it's a bit like an old watch that's really seen some action. It looks much better with that natural wear and tear. I think a belt, especially a casual belt that you'd wear with a pair of jeans, is a great example and looks so much better once it's been well worn. So from that point of view, the reason I like to work or like to buy this type of belt is that from one piece, they're not stitched, they're not two halves stitched together, so it's one piece of leather. When you see a belt in a shop, you're seeing it in its best ever light. You're seeing it hanging there, it's never been worn, it's never been tested, and you just don't know how it's going to age. The thing about buying an old belt, as you'll discover if I do some more, is that when you see how a belt has been worn and aged, you can see the quality of the leather. When you get belts that have two halves stitched together, you'll tend to notice that the holes get very worn and stretched on them. When it's a single piece of full grain leather, the hole will still stretch slightly, but it wears in a much more predictable way. And I think that just adds to the patina of the belt. So the other component that's missing from this is the keeper. The keeper being the leather loop that you feed the loose end of the belt into. I'm circumventing this particular problem by having a buckle that has a keeper built in. If I didn't have that type of buckle, this would be a more challenging project because I'd have to then create a keeper, probably out of some other type of leather which wouldn't look the same. Anyway, that's not going to be a problem today because I've got a buckle with the keeper built in. So I'll show you what it's going to look like when it's finished. Just feed that through there, pop that on there. So as you can see, the natural brass color against the brown of the leather looks absolutely amazing. And then once you feed that through there, pop the thing through the hole and then feed that through there. That's going to be the finished look. So how do we do that? Well, there's several ways that we could do that. We can stitch it, we can glue it, but we're going to use rivets. So to do this, we need these little screw rivets that you can buy, brass ones that you can buy in packs of 50 or so. We're just going to use two of these, and I should say two pairs. So you need a female and a male side for each. And this is not me being sexist, that is actually what they are called for obvious reasons. And hole punches. So the hole punches need to be the same size as the stalk on the rivet, or a little bit bigger. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than that. So we'll compare that to that, and once that's fed through, that should be absolutely fine. Now, I should say, I don't know where this belt came from, and I don't know why or how it lost its buckle. It may have failed quality control in the factory, or it may have turned out to be the wrong length. I don't know. There would be some reason why this would have been rejected, because it's never been worn, it's never been sold, but it was prepared to the extent where it had it would have been able to take a buckle. So I suspect, because it has old stitching marks and the leather has been skived, it's been shaved down so it can be folded over. A lot of work's been done on that, but it's failed, must have failed quality control in the factory. As you can see, it's got the slot there for the bar of the buckle. And what we're going to do is fold that over. I'm going to punch 2 holes into the belt there, and that will secure it in place. Now, as I say, I do need to work out exactly where to punch those holes. So we're going to reconstruct the belt as it would be. And I'm going to work out where to put those holes on the unseen side. So we'll have the belt buckle as it would be in use, like that. And I'm going to mark it, because we need to have enough room for the belt to move, the buckle to move freely within the belt. And I think if we just place it there, so if I twist the end of that into the leather and then do one more and twist it in, a bit like going for a tattoo, where they mark the area first and then they say, are you happy with where your tattoo is going to be? Are you happy with the design and the size and everything? So I've marked where it's going to be on one side, and I'm just going to punch that through first and then do it on the other side. So quite a heavy hammer that you use. Always use a cutting mat or a piece of scrap wood or something that you can cut into. Check it's gone all the way through. One nice neat hole. Second one. There. So now we have the first 2 holes. We can use those to mark where we put the second 2. So put the belt back through. Now, at this point, we need to make sure that the folded over bit is perfectly aligned with the other bit, the other side of the belt. And make sure the buckle is as we want, free to move. And then we can mark by pushing through the first holes to mark where the hole is going to go on the other side. If we take it off again, you can see, hopefully see the 2 marks scored into the leather there. Now, rather than punch it through fully from the unfinished side, I'm going to go back and punch it again through the finished side. If you can imagine, when you're making the hole from the unfinished side through to the finished side, you're going to be pushing a lot of material out onto the finished side, and you want to avoid that. So what we're going to do is make the hole from the unfinished side, make sure it goes all the way through just, but then repeat the process from the finished side, so we're pushing any material, any waste material back through the hole. There. So now we have our 4 holes in hopefully exactly the right spot. So if the belt had a keeper, you'd be putting it on at this stage, because that would need to be secured in place with the rivets. So hopefully with a gentle tap, there. Now I've been quite cautious with these and made them as small, made the holes as small as they can be. That's to make sure that the rivets are snugly in place. I don't want them to be a loose fit. I want them to be quite a tight fit. So once they're in place, they're fastened properly. So I've put the screw part on the inside, so it's a neater finish on the outside. And all that's left to be done is a bit of leather honey. You really don't need very much of this. All I'm going to do is go along the whole length of the belt and just throw it in. Hopefully this will moisturize it and condition it without, as I say, without removing or hiding the patina. It should enhance the natural beauty of the leather. I always forget to say, but I will link to the products that I use. I'll link to everything in the description so you can find it for yourself. And there we go. So fasten that. So there we have it. A full grain English made Abercrombie and Fitch man's belt that I bought for £2 and is now going to serve me for many, many years to come. So if you have any questions about anything that you've seen today, any of the products, any of the techniques, or if you have any suggestions for how I can improve on any of those things, please let me know in the comments and I'll see you next time. Take care.